why is there
Let's
only
talk about
one?
the Ukrainians.
Why is there only one Holocaust, one evil? When steals, cut their hand off, as they do in Saudi Arabia. Whoever won the war decided what evil was.
And then the victors wrote history. Murder is part of life.
Whether or not you believe in a literal devil, you should be concerned about the plans of LaVey and Schreck to establish a satanically ruled society. And they are the two people you will see me confront during this video. And now, the first family of Satanism.
You describe the Bible as an occult book.
Mm-hmm. Because
you say you're not an occultist. Christians are.
Christians believe in such concepts as birth by a virgin, angels and demons, the existence of eternal life, immortality. At the end of the world, corpses are going to rise out of the grave and become real again, depending on whether you're a tribulationist Christian or whatever denomination you are. The end of the world is a good thing.
As a Satanist, you know the dispensationalists and the pre-tribulationists and all that?
I wish I didn't know anything about them, but I'm forced to deal with them, so I know every kind of idiocy that is called Christianity. Exactly. It's an occult book. It is all about occultism. It's God is a spiritual creator in the sky. Christianity is occultism. Satanism says that these gods and belief systems that humanity needs and should have are archetypes, mythologies that make human beings behave a certain way. Everything is a fairy tale. Christ is a fairy tale as much as Satan. It depends on what archetype you choose. How do you explain that? Why are you still using this primitive book about goat sacrifice, the proper way to wear your hat when you're in the desert? This has nothing to do with the modern society we live in.
Civil
ceremony.
Well, why are you using, look at it as a history book.
Culture.
What does it have to do with your culture?
The new covenant that Jesus Christ established through the cross. That is the message that we now bear. That
why?
is the good news that
Why
is
are you?
forth.
You are of European descent, I imagine. Why do you reject the beautiful and pure tradition of pagan heritage which you have in favor of an alien Eastern creed that came out of a desert that has nothing to do with the world you come from or live in? Why?
Well, the answer is very simple, that there is one God, and that paganism is an attempt of Satan to turn people from the true God.
What was it when your ancestors before Christ were pagans? What was it then? Were they sinners?
God always was.
Why didn't anyone hear about it? Well, whether you like it or not, in the future, people are going to look at the Bible and put it on the shelf with Mother Goose's fairy tales and all the other wonderful books that human beings have created to give them some meaning, and it will just be looked at as another book. You have your belief system. It's based on a book written 2,000 years ago. As far as I'm concerned,
in part,
it has no relevance.
And it was not written 2,000 years ago.
They've revised it. King James revised it, took out the parts he didn't like.
But there is the Old Testament that goes back with historical consistency far beyond that.
And that's the part that advocates animal sacrifice, is the Old Testament. Why don't you throw that part out then? All of the evangelists are slowly falling out of favor, and as we move into the Satanic century, we're going to see Christianity's last gasp. How many Christians are true Christian? I maybe met 5 in my entire life.
Well, if they're not truly Christian, then they're not Christians. Are there any prominent stars today who are followers openly of the Church of Satan?
There are people in every field of endeavor, in architecture, science,
excuse me, but why?
Fact.
If they're a follower of Satan, should they not be willing to step forward and say so? I mean...
well, that's what we're embarking on now.
Well, what the 90s are going to see is a massive rise of Satanism. People are going to come out of the shadows and reveal themselves as thoroughgoing Satanists. We have no regard for the masses. Satanism is a religion for the elite. It is a religion for leaders. It's a religion for competent people. It's not a religion for anyone who wants to be a Satanist. We don't say welcome to the club.
The homeless, the handicapped, those with multiple sclerosis.
I don't want the homeless, the handicapped. I don't want them. You've taken that on your shoulders. That's your job. You're doing a great job with the homeless. You help everyone. We're helping those who help themselves, as it says in your Bible. And you can take the weak.
No, it doesn't say that in the Bible.
You can take the decrepit. You can take people who can't help themselves. We don't want them. It's simple.
If this new satanic century truly does come into being, suddenly you are the people of the new social order. Describe to me what that social order would be like.
In a satanic society, a murderer wouldn't last a minute because every individual would have the right to defend themselves then and there. If someone broke into your home.
Vigilantism? Go out and get the guy?
It's worked for thousands of years and it should work again. If someone steals, cut their hand off, as they do in Saudi Arabia. That is a much more sane way of dealing with crime than the Christian way, which is to say, oh, you came from a bad background and we really love you, and here, go to jail and be rehabilitated, and then we'll let you out after you've read the Bible enough. I don't have mercy for criminals. I don't have mercy for people who cause strife, and they should be summarily executed and removed from society. It's simple.
Is it wrong to murder? Is it wrong to murder?
Depends on the circumstances.
No, you answer the question. Is it wrong to murder?
What is wrong? Murder is part of life.
What is it then? Define everything if you want to debate it clearly.
There always has
Zena, we've
been
got
murder.
6,000 years of human history to define what murder is.
That's right. So how are we
Killing
going to
is
define
a
it
part
here?
of animal behavior. So all I'm telling you is morality is a relative issue, and nobody can decide what is good and evil.
Is murder relative?
Murder is absolutely relative. When we sent, when I say we, I mean the American government sent our troops to Vietnam to kill people. Was it evil? Were those good murderers? Are there good murderers if they're wearing a soldier's uniform and bad murderers if they're not?
Every war, no matter whether it was the Third Reich or whether it was the Spanish Inquisition or any war, any movement, has always caused bloodshed.
Whoever won the war decided what evil was.
And then the victors wrote history.
The satanic world of the future, Christian churches will be allowed to continue because they pose no threat to us. We don't need Christianity. Christianity needs us.
Sure.
So we'll let it.
Sure. Tell that to the Jews in the Warsaw Ghetto. Why, we're not going to put you in gas ovens. We're not going to kill you. We just want you to wear an armband.
No, I'm not saying that.
I mean, we just want you.
No.
But
I'm not saying
Hitler,
I'm a humanitarian.
Hitler,
don't try to whitewash
Hitler
me.
created a reality. Was it evil?
Hitler was a masterful black magician, of course. He created a reality. Was it evil? I'm telling you that I don't believe in good and evil, and nor can anyone decide what is good and evil. It's all based on historical and cultural values. In my point of view, the Christian religion is evil, in quotes, because it is negative.
Nicholas, you're not willing to say Hitler was evil.
Absolutely not, because I'm not going to bow down to your level of good and evil. That's so primitive. You want rules.
No, you do.
You want rules.
No, I'm asking you just a fundamental question how human beings treat one another.
100 years ago, Napoleon was considered the devil incarnate, the most evil person who ever lived. Now he's forgotten. Everything changes with cultural tides. Morals change with the weather. You can't say something is good or evil. You can only look at human behavior from a realistic perspective.
Are you then saying that what Hitler did to 6 million Jews cannot be morally quantified and called evil? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely not, nor can any act of any human being or animal be judged good or evil. If Hitler had won, obviously, your school books would say Hitler was good, everything else is evil. It's so relative that why can't the human race step out of this primitive argument of good and evil?
6 million corpses.
What about the Ukrainians?
Sure.
Why is there
Let's
only
talk about the Ukrainians.
Why is there only one Holocaust, one evil? Maybe it is a greater evil, when all is said and done, to keep millions of people alive who are not ever going to be productive, who are going to drain all of our resources and create a stagnant world.
But to comfort them in the hours of their death, to offer an act of human kindness.
Well,
that's why there's people
for.
like you. In fact, I believe that animals should be protected by humans, as it is our duty as the inheritors of the earth to protect the ecology, to protect wildlife. And satanic ecology is forefront on our agenda. Mm-hmm. We need to protect the earth that we live on and our natural environment.
When we allow every individual to become the arbiter of his own actions, who then in turn use this as an excuse for reprehensible action.
Christians are cheating on their wives. Christians are killing each other. And the Bible and your church aren't going to change anything about that. Until you look at human nature realistically, you're never going to have a sane perspective on the world.
In a nutshell, your view of Christ and your view of Satan. So there's no misunderstanding to anyone as to what you truly believe about both. I'll let you go first and Zeeną last. Christ and Satan.
Christ is a mythological figure, just as the Easter Bunny, Hercules, Zeus, the Tooth Fairy. And if you want to believe that Christ existed and was a historical personage, that is your right. However, I place no importance on Christ or the teachings of Christ, except that Judeo-Christianity as a whole has, in my view, been a very dangerous cult that has destroyed human potential for 2,000 years. And I oppose the idea of Christianity. I do not accept the religious validity of Christ, but I do believe it is a dangerous social system, and I am glad to see that it's finally decaying.
And Satan?
Satan, just as all the other mythological figures I named, is a figure that the human imagination has created as an archetype. If you've read Carl Jung, you know what an archetype is. An ideal. It's a type, a form, and it has no more valid existence than Christ. However, you can decide a lot about a person, whether they resonate to the archetype of the God of death, which is Christ, the God of self-sacrifice and surrender, the God of the meek and the weak, or Satan, who is traditionally the God of the strong, of the powerful, and of the leaders of the world.
Any anthropomorphic form that Satan may hold, you would be more likely to find in something that's right around us. A physical object, maybe a car. Or
no God, no devil, just us.
That's up to you.
Just us as
animals. That's what it boils down
to,
yeah.
Well, there will come a day when people will look at this tape and hear what you're saying and say these were truly the dark ages, when an intelligent person like Bob Larson could advocate such insane ideas. We live in a cosmos that is created by nature, comes from nature, and shall return to nature. There's no judge above us or below us.